Hello. It's been a while. It would appear that I've only done like one stream a week for the past couple of weeks now. Oh, hi Mimi. Mimi saying hi to the stream. It has been a while. And I'm going to try my utmost to stream 4 days out of this week because Friday I am driving to Chicago for my mother's birthday party. So that is going to be it's typically about a 6 hours and change drive for me. Hi, Memes. Hi. Come over here. Let me pet you. There you are. Hello. Yeah, so here I am. Sorry, I'm giving Mimi attention. She is very needy all the time. Very needy all the time. Man, when I'm not talking directly into my mic, I can see that I'm like significantly quieter. But I have been doing a lot. I've been doing memes. Where are you? Hello. Hi, little one. She is a crier. I find it very interesting that Mimi doesn't purr ever. She just cries no matter what. She cries when she wants attention. She cries when she's happy. Like she just screams to communicate no matter what. Back when she was super scared of me, she would always meow right before she used the litter box and right after. It was like a, Dane, I'm going to take a shit. Dane, I've gone to take a shit. Which I thought was always really cute. But now she just cries all the time. I don't even see her anymore. Where'd she go? She must have walked away. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of stuff. I know I mentioned before that I've been extremely busy with work, and that has not let up. It is probably going to let up after this week / after next week. But I do think that it's let up enough that I can continue streaming. I know I said that last week, but dude, it's really weird, honestly, because like, man, I'm really enjoying myself, like having like this really high octane project where I'm busy every single day, but also when I'm busy every single day, I don't really want to come home and stream, which is kind of paradoxical because stream does relax me and stream does help my mental health quite a lot, but it is work, like 100%. Like, it's not like I'm just sitting here doing nothing and relaxing and decompressing when I stream. I am like putting in effort towards being an entertainer and speaking my thoughts, kind of in the same way. I guess this is a little different because it's kind of like a self-medicated therapy, but in the same way that therapy is work, like it's not like, oh, I just go here and I pay someone to make it all better. It takes growth on your part as well. So that's kind of where stream is for me as well, where I just get I get very drained from work and I get very drained from stream, and I can't do both of them back to back, but I think that I'm good. I think that I'm good enough to be able to do both of them now. Hi, Mimi. Crying from across the room. She's just sitting on my sweater because it got a little warm in here. You know, honestly, that's the best part about winter. I'm not going to lie. I have not had my air conditioning on, my AC or my heat on in the apartment. I have my windows open the entire time. To kind of like keep my house cool, and my computer being on for like 6 hours a day keeps my apartment warmed up. So I'm saving a shit ton of money on heating, because the computer is actually much more efficient than the heating in this building, at least. I am starting to write up the form to move out of Austin, Minnesota, and to be a remote worker. I think that I still need to have a conversation with my mother about what the plan is going to be, but I think that I'm just going to be looking at apartments up in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area to see if I like it in that area. And then from there, after like a year of lease, I think I'm gonna start looking at homes and looking to see if I might want to purchase a home. And obviously I am not super capable of purchasing a home on my own. I will likely need to be enlisting some support from my much more economically advantageously positioned mother. But I would much rather have a loan to my mom than I would to a bank, you know? So yeah, that's pretty much everywhere that I'm at life-wise. I played the most recent Granblue story. If any of you guys have caught up on that, it's pretty much exactly what everyone's been saying. They just kind of decided to say the end. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. There were parts that I really, really liked. There were parts that I was like, what the hell is happening? But I think that the biggest disappointment of all is that I have been waiting for Grand Fenrir and Grand Loki, if I'm being honest, for a very, very, very long time. Almost since the day I started playing the game. And without spoiling the story, they will not be happening. Have you considered draining the life force of other humans to regain energy? Like an energy vampire. I don't think that I'd be able to do that. I am not Kishat Asarola Ore on Heart Under Blade, nor am I the Sawari Neko. I guess I should mention I am on a time limit today. My good friend Justin, friend of the stream Justin, I have mentioned him before, has asked me to watch the Suki Monogatari movie right afterwards. And I'm looking quite forward to that. I'm a pretty big fan of the Suki Monogatari movie. It starts off a little bit slow, and it partially feels like it's two separate storylines, because half of it's about Araragi and Shinobu, and the other half is about Tsukihi. But I don't know. Regardless, I still like it. It's interesting how I can enjoy something like that, because it feels like it's kind of intelligently done. And obviously I'm super biased towards Monogatari. I'm going to say everything they do is pretty intelligent, because it feels like it was very methodical in its practice. But obviously I do not know anything about the writing process of the Monogatari series. But as opposed to something like Attack on Titan that is very disjointed and feels like two separate stories and is one of like the worst things ever, as opposed to Suki that is a lot more condensed and still feels kind of disjointed, but is a very good story IMO. Sounds like you need to learn Vladimir Jungle. I'm not gonna lie, Tony. That genuinely sounds like one of the worst ideas ever. I'll have to try it to like really get a feel for it, but I'm about 100% certain that might be like the worst jungler in the game. Yeah. I'm like trying to list off other options in my head, and I genuinely can't think of any. Yeah, I think it would be a really big struggle to play Vladimir in the jungle. What else to talk about? I started playing another Pokemon fan game, Pokemon Unbound. This will be my third time playing it through. Love that game a whole lot. It is the de facto Pokemon fan game. I guess technically it is a ROM hack, but you would not be able to tell. It plays like a fan game for sure. Oh, speaking of, I need to make a note to send that to someone who asked me. Send Pokemon Unbound. There we go. Noted. What else? Played through the Genshin story. Thought that was very phenomenal. Really quite enjoyed that. Star Rail story in 2 days. Wait, does that mean Sirene's in 2 days? Is Sirene's tomorrow evening? So did daylight savings make it so that it's going to be at a much more reasonable time? Or is daylight savings mean that it's going to be super late? Okay. Then, yeah, I guess I'm doing my polls tomorrow to get Miss Cyrene. I think I'm sitting on 100 polls, no 50-50. But I haven't done exploration in that game in the better part of like 3-4 months. So I'm probably sitting on quite a lot of polls. So if I miss 50-50, then we can get going. But I have not. I am not planning on swiping. I'm not gonna lie. I think that if I get her, I get her. If I don't, I don't. So. What else? What else? You know, I was thinking about this earlier. I guess this is only for the MiHoYo crew. But I feel like I meme about swiping a lot. Like a lot. But in all honesty, I haven't really swiped that much. Like, the only swiping that I really do was, it was like Battle Pass Welkin, right? Yeah, like I swiped for E6 My Day for sure. That was 400, 300, which is crazy that that's still less than a Spark in Granblue. Like literally the amount of money that I've spent in MiHoYo games is such a marginal amount to how much I've spent in Granblue. But I spent like 300, 400 roughly, somewhere in there for E6 S3 My Day. And then I bought maybe like 5 Battle Pass Welkins. So what? That goes up to, that's like $75, right? And then I haven't spent any on Star Rail after that. Like I stopped buying Battle Pass and I stopped buying Welkin in Star Rail. Genshin, in the past, when did I buy my meat? That was like in May. So the past 6 months, it's been 6 months. I have bought Battle Pass and Welkin, and $250 worth of polls. So what does that come out to be? Because Battle Pass is 40 days, so 6 months, 40 days. Let's just say it's a month per, right? So same thing. So it would be six Battle Passes and 6 Welkins, which is what, $90? So I've spent like 350. Wow, I was actually pretty on the money with my rough estimates before. So yeah, like $350 roughly. And then in Genshin, and then like $500 in Star Rail. $400, $500 in Star Rail. So $1,000 year to date over the past, and then obviously I'm $0 in ZZZ. So yeah, I'd say I spent roughly like a little bit less than $1,000 in the past year, which is a lot. I'm not gonna sit here and say $1,000 isn't a lot of money, but comparatively to how I used to spend in Granblue, literally last year, I think I did 6 Whale Sparks last year. which was, if you're unaware of Granblue's spending, that is roughly $3,900. And that doesn't count all of the times that I got scamchas / surprise tickets, which are $25 each. So I'd say I spent roughly $4,000 on Granblue, which is, that's a lot of money. For $4,000 on Granblue just last year, not counting all of the other times that I have spent money on Granblue. So yeah, it's a very expensive game if you play the way that I do, which was and not to point fingers, but I felt a responsibility almost to spend. It was certainly, I got myself into the mentality, but the way that I enjoyed Granblue was trying to get my friends into the game, right? It was, I wanted to do the fun, hard content with my friends in Granblue. And unfortunately, that literally never panned out. But the way that I wanted to like have that come to fruition was me be competitive, carryable, like carryably competitive. Like I wanted to be able to carry all of my friends on every element essentially, so that anyone could hop in with me, like, oh, you play Earth? Well, I play Earth, so I guess we can't play together. I really wanted to get that, like, flexibility of myself taken care of. And so even though I was an Earth main, like 100% I play Earth, that's what I do. And if I didn't want to linearly invest all of my money and resources into all the other elements, and I just stuck with Earth, I would not have spent nearly as much money. And my Earth would probably honestly be better, because I wouldn't have felt so bad. And maybe I wouldn't have gotten as burnt out on the game either, had I not done all of those things. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like a responsibility to swipe so that I was able to play the game with my friends, because my friends were so new and unwilling to commit time to the game. So I spent money to kind of make up for it, and here we are. None of my friends ended up playing. You're right, you were almost there, Mr. Tony, but unfortunately, literally, I mean, Nuxie was there, but Nuxie and I had a very long period where we did not talk. The better part of 2 years now that we did not talk. So now we're on better terms, and I know that he still plays Granblue, but it just kind of felt like no one was there. And Preacher's awesome. Preacher really did put in a lot of work to get there, but I mean, one man doesn't make an army, right? And even if we just had, nah, I shouldn't even say that. I wanted 6. I really wanted 6. I wanted a group of people in Granblue. My dream was that we had like a lot of people in Granblue, right? Same way that I wanted in 14. I wanted a big active crew with a lot of people with equal passions to mine and equal goals for the game, and wanted to devote themselves to it. And unfortunately, it just didn't pan out. And if I'm being honest, it still would be really cool if it did, but I think that I'm at the point where I've given up telling people to play the game, and I think it's just a lot easier to say I'm done. The game has done a lot of stuff that I don't agree with, for sure. I'm not a super huge fan of KMR Jr., nor am I a fan of their new CEO. But I do still really like Granblue. It's just not a game that I can really play with my friends, you know? And I do think that Granblue, unlike Hoyo games, Hoyo games are such an easy alternative, right? We see Tatame come in and log into, we saw Tatame just come in today. He's like, I'm playing Genshin out of nowhere, right? And he doesn't have built characters, you know? He's got like Raiden Electrocharge, which in GBF terms, that's essentially being like, yeah, I made a Grand Order team. Right? Like it's not a super viable strategy. I mean, it is a viable strategy. It's not a very competitive strategy. And in Grand Blue, when you don't do a super competitive strategy, it hurts. It really hurts. It feels like you can't do the content if you don't do a competitive strategy. But in Genshin, right, in the MiHoYo games, you can enjoy playing the game with your friends in any capacity, right? Amy and I guess I should include Tony in there too. He just only plays Star Rail. But Amy and I, for the most part, are very meta-oriented. We tend to pick the team that we find strong because strength tends to feel fun, right? I think I said this before when I was talking about TFT, and how I find the viability in TFT, but I think that like playing strong shit is fun because I feel like I'm rewarded for my game knowledge, right? I make good decisions, I get stronger. My power fantasy in my head, like the way that I perceive strength and improvement and progression scales up in that. Like that's the way that my brain works. Whereas other people are like, man, I see this really cool combo. I see this thing that is very aesthetically pleasing. I see this thing that's really unique. And I want to do that. Let me read Azalea's message. Yeah, that's the thing with me compared to y'all. I am much more on the waifu side compared to the meta, which is part of the reason that I didn't like Grand Blue. Yeah, so I was actually talking about this before as well, and don't take this the wrong way, because I didn't mean this to be like talking behind people's back out of malice. But I was talking about like the way that everyone in our friend group perceives like power fantasy. Like in League of Legends, like as a competitive game, that people tend to, at least in our friend group, they tend to not want to lean towards strong picks. They want to lean towards cool picks. They like Rolando, for instance. Rolando is going to be my example in this. And I can probably make an example of everyone. But when Rolando was playing League of Legends, he played top lane and support kind of 50-50 and honestly wasn't super talented at either one. But part of the reason for that was that in top lane, he would play Riven, which like Riven is a really hard character. Right? Like Ribbon players that can win matchups and not just get their shit pushed in need to be extremely strong and extremely familiar with the game. Same thing with a lot of support picks that he would play. Like Swain, for instance, is not the type of champion that is super intuitive. Like he's a hook champion, he's got CC, he's got poke, but the way that you play Swain is not like how you would play any other mage support or any other hook support. Like you don't play Swain like how you play Nautilus. You don't play Swain like how you play Brand. Swain's a pretty unique champion and he is very strong, but you need to kind of understand, and he didn't play competitively enough to understand. And we shift over to Tatame, right? Playing Lilia. Lilia is not nearly on the same level as Riven, but Lilia is also not a super common pick. Unless Lily is like absurdly broken, in which case everyone just plays her because she's not like she's not rocket science when she's super strong. When Lily is stronger in meta pick, she just kind of runs over everyone because she's super fast and super powerful. But he really liked Lilia, and like anything in the jungle, you need to practice. You need to practice, especially when you don't have a lot of familiarity on the champion. And there was never a time in the jungle where Tatsume was like, you know what? I think that I want to play Vi. Or I think, there was a time when he wanted to play Vi, but it wasn't ever Sundered Sky into tank Vi. It was always like, I want to go T-Force Collector, right? And there was never a time that he was like, I think I want to play Zac, or I think I want to play, you know, any of those champions, any of those rather simple champions, right? It was always, I want to play this thing that I think is super niche and super cool. And I understand that power fantasy, I do. And we can go to you, Mrs. Azalea, that like, You didn't want to play Malphite top, or you didn't want to play Mordekaiser top, or you didn't want to play Aatrox top, right? Which I guess Aatrox is a little bit different, but I'm just creating examples, right? You want to play Fiora, and that's because Fiora is cool, right? Fiora is a champion that requires a lot of practice to be really, really good at. It requires a lot of practice to win a lot of your matchups. She doesn't like stomp anyone in particular unless you're fucking goated on the champion. And as a result, especially when you're playing against players that are like significantly more practiced than you, your performance would suffer. And that's not super fun or enjoyable. And part of that's because you are unable to fulfill your power fantasy of playing the unique and niche thing of playing Fiora, right? And even if you really like Fiora, you should still be able to play it. Like, I'm not saying don't play Fiora, but like part of the prerequisite of doing those super cool and unique and niche things is putting in a lot of practice on them. Like you saw me earlier, and albeit, 8 of those games have been on and don't get me wrong, I am 100% a victim to this mentality as well, right? The jungle champions that I have learned most recently, in order, right, have been Rengar, OTP champion, right? Nidalee, OTP champion, and before that it was Viego, OTP champion. Viego's a little bit less so than the other two, but like 100%, all 3 of those champions are extremely practiced champions, not champions that anyone can just pick up and start performing on. The difference is that when I really, really, really wanted to, in between Nidalee and Rengar was Zed, right? And Zed is 100% an extremely practiced champion, especially in the jungle, right? Like the difference is that when I pick champions like that, and you can go back into other games as well. Guilty Gear, right? I picked Ramlethal, and if you don't know anything about Exerd Ramlethal, that character was hard. In Undernight, I played Seth, and if you don't know anything about Undernight, that character's hard. in Smash, I played Sheik, and I played Zero Suit, right? If you don't know anything about those champions are hard, right? Those characters are really, really hard. But the difference is that in all of those games, in Smash, I have over 20,000 hours, probably. That's probably an exaggeration, but I probably have upwards of 10,000, I can tell you that. In 14, right, I played Astro, and I played Astro well, literally number 1, right? Same thing with Scholar. And I played it really, really, really well. And I played Black Mage, and I played that really well. And before they swapped Samurai, I played that really, really well. And in 14, I have, 11,000 hours. In League of Legends, I have a lot of time and veteran knowledge, but when I wanted to learn Viego, I spammed Viego, and I just played it over and over and over and over again. And when I wanted to play Nidalee, I would play it over and over and over and over and over again. Same thing with Zed, and same thing with Rengar now. And all of those was a mixture of me sitting in training mode, and it's not even just in League of Legends. In fighting games in 14, it was me sitting in training mode, trying to build muscle memory and learn my fundamentals in such a way that I don't have to think about them when I'm playing, looking up guides and gaining knowledge, and then trying to apply it as much as I can in games. In professional life, there is a saying of the 70-20-10 rule, which is 10. So this is the learning experience. 10% of learning is your own research. 20% of learning is being mentored or taught, and 70% of learning is putting it into practice. That's one school of thought for it. Let me read what you're saying. Yeah, I get you about Fiora, albeit I wouldn't be super opposed to learning more stable champs like Poppy, but tanks aren't really my style. Another thing is, let's say me on Talia. They nerf her, let's say, for the next 3 patches straight, and she falls out of the meta. I'd still play her and not swap to a better champion. Exactly, because Talia fits your power fantasy. Even if she's good, which she is right now, she is good. Talia is not a popular champion because she requires you to be good on her. In the same way that Adhere is extremely good right now. Although I think that Adhere doesn't fit your idea of a power fantasy. Adhere does fit your definition of a power fantasy. It's just not specifically for you. It's just like those types of like hyper niche, high practice characters that make you feel unique because you're doing something that not a lot of other people can do. And it's true. That's really cool. I agree. I do the same exact thing. That is almost my exact definition of a power fantasy as well. It's just that in games like TFT, for instance, I feel like the expression of skill doesn't really come down to like your character pick and your practice. It's like, I have the game knowledge to do this thing that I know is strong. To put it in League of Legends terms, it would be like doing the Shurima shuffle on Azir versus just farming on Azir and then using WQ and auto attacking, right? It's like, yes, you can just farm up and become a hyper carry and then kill everyone on Azir. But wouldn't it be so much cooler if you knew how to do the best play all the time, right? Like if you knew how to make the most out of all of your tool set. And that's where my power fantasy and TFT comes into play. And part of the reason that I like those super niche characters, because normally my power fantasy does not come from being unique. Normally. It just so happens that the characters that I fantasize about in my power is I like having an answer to every situation with my tool set. So for instance, in Guilty Gear, there is or at least an Exert. I'm going to talk about Exert because I don't think this drive is real Guilty Gear. But in Exert, there is a common sentiment that characters have a win con, essentially. That once they get you into a situation, there is no way for you to get out of it. And once they have gotten you there, then you lose. And something that I always wanted was to be able to get out of the situation, right? I wanted to be like, oh, well, my character can do this, and this to either stop the situation from happening or to straight up get out of the situation. And that's why I played Sheik in Smash 4. Because Sheik had everything. She could camp, she was fast, she had good recovery, she had really fast normal, she had decent range, but she had really strong pitfalls, which were like, if you got hit, you died, right? So you had to play really well. And as a result, I wasn't super good at the character because I'm like, spoiler alert, my like natural ability to play games is not super good. Games that I can't rely on macro knowledge to carry me, like League of Legends or StarCraft or TFT or Final Fantasy or, you know, any of those types of games. I tend to not be super good at. Games that are like just skill, I tend to fall pretty heavily in, and as a result, I didn't really perform super well in fighting games. But it didn't stop my mentality. It's the reason that I wanted to play Scholar back when Astro was the way it was in Stormblood. If you don't know how Astro was in Stormblood, Astro used to have a card system where they would pull a card and it did a random effect. It was like, you might have had a like damage reduction, you might have had a damage buff, you might have had like regen, you might have had mana regen, like it was completely random what you had. And in my head, I was like, how the fuck am I ever supposed to plan around this in a game that is like literally a scripted dance? Like I could just pull the wrong thing and get fucked. That didn't feel good to me. So I played Scholar, which was significantly more planning. And I got really fucking good at Scholar. I got really good at Scholar, a class that a lot of people consider to be really hard, really challenging. And then they reworked Astro, and Astro became a significantly planning-oriented class. And what do you know? I became really fucking good at Astro as well. And the thing was that they had the tool set to handle everything, literally everything. And that is my idea of power fantasy, is if you're good enough, then you will win. And unfortunately, that is not super balanced in competitive play, but I don't know. That's I don't even remember how this like came into how I got on this topic of conversation. Right, we were talking about Granblue and Hoyo games, but basically the gist of it is, I guess if we go back to Granblue and MiHoYo, is that in Granblue, you can't play the game your way, I suppose. It's kind of like Granblue is TFT, not League of Legends. Granblue is entirely reliant on your macro knowledge and none on your micro knowledge, right? It is about you knowing how to put your team together, to use the tool set at your disposal, and to tackle a problem, and create the strongest solution to said problem. In League of Legends, you can pick, in League of Legends, right? All right, bad example. Really bad examples, actually. Hold on a sec. In MiHoYo, or in League of Legends, or in anything, you can pick top Volibear and you can make it work, right? If you're really, really good. Or you can pick support Sylas. Or you can play jungle Sejuani. Or you can play support Xerath. If you're really good at it, then you can make it work. Like it's reliant on you being good, not the pick itself being weak. In Granblue, or in TFT, if you play support Sylas, you're griefing. You'll just lose. The game doesn't allow you to do it because the systems of the game do not allow for you to do it. And I can understand that freedom being kind of lame, but or that lack of freedom being kind of lame, but at least in my opinion, I still had fun with it. It would be like if in 14 a mechanic came up like you were doing a raid in 14 and a mechanic came up in the fight and you said, I don't want to do the mechanic. The fact that the fight is making me do the mechanic is lame. And it's like, okay, I think you just don't like 14 then, right? I think that's like, I don't think it's fine is the thing. I don't, oh my God, can you get Azalea? Do you mind banning that guy? Thank you. But I don't want to say like, that's fine. You don't have to enjoy the things that other people enjoy. But it's kind of like how I get frustrated with Justin for enjoying things the way that he wants to enjoy them. Because I feel like, and maybe this is me being like really pretentious, but I feel like all of these things are a medium of communication and art. And when you ignore everything about the experience and the way it was intended for you to like to do that experience, it just kind of feels stupid. And that's probably very vitriolic and mean, but it kind of does. It kind of does feel stupid to me, that you're like, oh, well, I can't play the game my way, so I guess I don't like the game. And I mean, I'm not going to say I don't understand it, but I wish that people would kind of operate around it. Because I think that art is supposed to, comfort the unpleasant and make the comfortable feel unpleasant. You know, like it's supposed to make you feel and think and do things that get outside of your comfort zone. And, you know, and if that means that they pick Caitlyn top, Kindred jungle, Akshan mid a fucking like Zeri ADC Ashe support, it means that you should go, oh boy, I'm picking Malphite top Rammus jungle, right? Not, I think I'm gonna play Galio this game. Because I think I should be able to play Galio, right? Does that like make sense? Like what I'm saying? Or am I speaking to the void on that one? I don't know if that analogy made a whole lot of sense, but that's kind of like my 2 cents on the matter as a whole. That I kind of wish people would, at the very least, attempt the experience. You know, and Granblue has a large time sink that requires you to like actually get to the experience and quote unquote get to the fun part. But like it isn't just a Granblue thing, I guess, is where I was kind of coming from. That I think it's kind of like an everything thing. That part of experiencing these games, these different medias, comes in, what an awkward transition in lo-fi, comes from making the right decision and having the decision, that all of the different options laid out in front of you and saying, I'm going to pick the right decision, not the decision I want to pick, right? If there's a fire in front of you and you're an oil main, sometimes you have to put out the fire with water. You can't just throw oil at every solution. Does that make sense? Is that a better analogy? I hope it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just kind of being crazy here. But that's essentially what I hear when Justin says, like he just enjoys grinding, right? It's that there is a raging fire in front of you, and Justin has a bucket of water to put it out, and he refuses to use the bucket of water because he just really likes using oil for every solution. And yeah, eventually you'll get enough oil to put out the fire. Right? Eventually you will have a mountain of oil that even fire couldn't ignite because it would be so overwhelmed, right? But like you're still ignoring the game. And I guess that's my take on Granblue. And I guess Granblue really is a product of its time, that it doesn't allow you in the same way that the MiHoYo games do to kind of hero or champion a unit that you really like and just kind of like roll with them throughout everything. But I think that championing oil when the game throws you a raging fire isn't character loyalty, it's stupidity, right? Back, I had to get dinner, but that's kind of why I stopped playing Honkai Star Rail in regards to you can't play the characters, you have to play the meta. It's definitely not the same, but it felt enough like that to me that it stopped being fun. So I have a very interesting perspective on this, I guess, in that I didn't play for a large section of time that I felt like there was quote unquote locked content. There were, and obviously this is just me talking about this, but in Penacony, there were 2 new archetypes that were added to the game, right? There was Super Break and there was Dot, right? Am I wrong in saying that? There was Super Break and there was Dot. I guess there was also Follow-Up Attack was Penacony as well. So 3 new ones, but I don't remember any fights that were like explicitly oriented towards Follow-Up Attack, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But there were yeah, but Acheron isn't like maybe I'm wrong about this as well, but Acheron is a very normal team, right? It's like you have your main DPS, you have your support, and then you have your sustain, right? Like Acheron's the main DPS, and then you'd run her with, you know, with Gaucho, who is your debuffer slash support. You'd run her with what's his name? With Aventurine, who is your sustain. Like, the structure of the team is honestly very similar to, like, the Mono Quantum team of the past, right? I'm thinking more like when Black Swan Kafka came into meta for a very short time, and when Firefly, Boot Hills, Rappa came into meta for that short time. It was very oriented towards comps that were like not standard, I should say. And Acheron, although she had very niche specific supports, was a standard style of play, at least from my understanding. Now, fast forward a little bit, we are now in Amphorius, and albeit and Amphorius has been very different. And I have pulled a lot of the really strong characters, right? I have Tribby, I have Hyacinth, I have E6 My Day. But that being said, that is just one half of my investment. I do still have Aglaya. And my Aglaya team, for a very long time, until extremely recently, has been Robin, Bronya, and Fushuan. And Robin, you know, is a newer character, newish character. And Aglaya hasn't really had any shield content, and Aglaya hasn't really had any dedicated supports, but I still cleared everything with Aglaya, mediocrely to strongly built, Robin, mediocrely to strongly built, Bronya, mediocrely to strongly built, and then a very weak Fushuan. Very, very weak Fushuan. My Fushuan was built like ass. So maybe I'm like, maybe like I'm crazy, but like I didn't experience that because I feel like Aglaya was a very standard team comp that didn't have content shield explicitly towards her, didn't have supports explicitly shield towards her, and I still felt like she was strong. And albeit she is a new DPS, right? She did come out alongside My Day and Castoris and Anaxa, right? Those four were the quote-unquote battleships of, although Castoris and My Day are the same battleship, but those were the three battleships of Amphorius, and then Phynon came out after that, right? But I don't, does that like make sense as to what I'm saying? Like, I did have half of the meta, right? Which is My Day. Mine's E6, but I do think that My Day at least fulfills the same role that Castoris does. Even if he is almost explicitly just a weaker version of her. Even at E6, I would probably argue that E6 Castoris is significantly stronger than E6 My Day. Just like in different ways, right? But yeah, I don't exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I did do one meta comp with Tribby and Hyacinth and RMC and My Day. And then I did a comp for me, which was Aglaya. And I really liked Aglaya, and I pulled Aglaya, and I championed Aglaya. I put a lot of investment into her. Not as much investment as I did into My Day, but like I got Aglaya and I got her light cone, which was pretty significant investment, I would say. And I cleared, but it wasn't even like a struggle clear. Like I cleared because I did build the team around her that worked with her. I can't really, I guess my question back to you is like, what character did you want to hero in Star Rail that you felt like literally couldn't work, right? Because maybe I'm just wrong, and I guess the difference was that Sela without resetting 900 times. Well, so let me before a discussion breaks out in the comments, let me say something. Like, are you trying to play Sela Bronya pre-buff Silver Wolf Fushuan? Because I don't think that that's like going to be super realistic, right? Like without like a pretty insane level of investment into the characters. But I do think that that character is possible to hero to champion, especially now that you can get her R5 light cone with like, I don't even know what would be considered her strongest team comp. Would it be like Sunday Robin PT? Would it be? Is that technically her best team? Really, even more so than I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking about everything. I'm thinking about all the sustains that are in the game, or not all the buffers that are in the game right now. And I feel like maybe there's another combination that even regardless, what I'm about to say, it doesn't even matter. I'm thinking about what could be better, and it doesn't even matter. I think that I think that if you bring Sunday Robin Hyacine, or if you bring Sparkle Cypher PT, or if you bring Sunday plus the now buffed Silver Wolf plus PT, you know, I think that it's, and with all of the new ways for you to get her light cone R5, I don't even know if Sela's light cone is technically her best light cone anymore, but I'm willing to bet at R5 it probably is, right? And that's not free, but it's free-ish, right? I'm willing to bet that it's possible to still hero. I'm like almost 100% certain that it's still possible to hero Sela. But yeah, I mean, Sela, Sparkle, Robin, Fushuan, I can see that struggling with a lot of the comps. With I guess my ads are running. I'm sorry. I guess we'll pause for a little bit while my ads are running. Are ads technically running? It just says ads starting soon. All right, there we go. Ads are in progress. Does Azalea also have ad block? Am I allowed to like chat? Yeah, okay, I can still chat. Okay. So there's also Jinglu and Fei Zhao, which I do clear content with still. I'm not saying they're unusable, but compared to others, I'm just worried that it will get to a point where they can't clear. You mentioned main DPS, but what about supports? Because I really like Sparkle, even if, like, say, using Sunday or Bronya is better for Sela than Sela, for example. I think that you are pushing against the game's capabilities. I think this kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Why does it say I have 15 viewers? Am I insane? This kind of goes back to what I was saying before about you wanting to play the game your way, quote unquote. And if you want to use Sparkle and Seela on the same team, I think that that's perfectly reasonable. Doesn't her light cone give her the action advance? It's not like perfect. It's not like good action advance, but it does give her action advance. I can't remember if that's her light cone or Eidolons or not. Because I don't have Sparkle, nor am I planning on getting her. Yeah, and you can use DDD as well. And maybe that's kind of a premium option, but yeah, you can use DDD as well. But I do think that Sparkles tend to be seen as pretty good with Seela. But what you're asking is you're getting into a kind of dangerous point, I think, which is, well, what Amy's saying as well, but if I, as a player, if I was in your shoes, Azalea, right, from your point of view, if I was to be like, man, the characters that I really, really, really like, hold on a sec. Let me bring up Pride really quickly, even though I hate their tier list. Right. Here, this is actually a really, really good example. I'll even use meta characters, right? If I say that my favorite Chrysos heirs are Phynon, Hisselins, and Evernight, right? And also, I really want to use Saber because I got her in the collab, right? You can probably use Hisselins, Evernight, Phynon, and Saber. You would have to invest a shit ton into them for them to like realistically clear content, but like that's not a comp, just straight up. You can make a comp around any of these characters. They're all pretty usable. They're all pretty good, if not straight up the best. But like, I think that you eventually will get to a point where it's like, yeah, I think that I'm probably not like super able to do that, right? And to your point of like, I really like Seela. Where is she? I really, really like Seela, and I really, really like Sparkle. Where is she? And I really, really like Sparkle. Well, luckily those two characters work pretty well together, to my knowledge. But if like the rest of your team comp, which I'm not gonna lie, like Robin's also pretty good in that team comp. I don't know if I'd say she's the best in the team comp. She might be, might be just straight up Sunday Robin as the best in that team comp. It's possible that it's Tribby now, Tribby with DDD instead of Robin. I think that they fulfill very similar roles. It's possible that Seela has a niche combination that people haven't heard of elsewhere as well. It's possible that there are characters that get shielded, supports that get shielded in certain content, looking at Hyacinth, right? But like if your favorite characters are Seela and Sparkle, I think that's totally possible. Now, pause for a second. The reason that I stopped playing Star Rail all those years ago, I say all, it was literally 2 years ago, was not because I didn't like the Penacony story. It was because I got bored with the game. Because I was at a point where I was sitting there and I was logging in and I farmed my relics and then I didn't get anything and I logged out. And I did that for a month and then I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore. I'm going to stop playing. And I did the same thing in Genshin, although I did not nearly get to the same level in Genshin. I stopped playing Genshin pretty early, right? And that's kind of what I'm doing in ZZZ right now as well. And I'll be honest, I'm probably dropping Stellasaur pretty quickly. And I've already dropped Wuwa, and I dropped Granblue. And like, I think that if you're bored with the game and you want to stop playing, then yeah. But I also think that, why did my song stop? Hello? Oh, it's because my tab crashed. There we go. Yeah, but I also think that Oh, Beku. Hi, Beku. I dropped Granblue a few months ago, actually. That's not a new thing. That's actually crazy. I didn't see you lurking in here, friend. Yeah, I honestly, it's probably time and place for me to talk about it and explain it, but we were talking about something else, so I'll come back to that in a second if you remind me, / if I don't get too tangented. But what we were talking about was that I think that the MiHoYo games allow you to quote unquote play with your friend. No, you're fine, Beku. You're good. The MiHoYo games allow you to quote unquote play with your friends a lot more easily than Granblue does, right? Granblue's play with your friends is the same way that 14 lets you play with your friends, in that, yeah, you can play the game casually, but at least for me, it is very hard to enjoy the game just casually. I do enjoy the casual aspects of the game, right? 100%, I do. I very much so enjoy the casual aspects of the game, but I play the games for the quote unquote fun part. Hi Mimi, good morning. Like the fun part of the game is in what I was saying before, in that like problem solving. It's the same reason I play Pokemon, right? It's literally the exact same reason I play Pokemon. When we were playing Pokemon was it yesterday, 2 days ago? And Azalea was like, I think the line is that you need to reset until you get a Flare Blitz burn on the Poison Heal Gliscor to stop it from healing. Like, that's a crazy line. And it didn't require that much resetting, right? But that's cool, that's fun. And that's what Granblue is. Like, that's literally what Granblue is the boss says, hey, I have a Poison Heal Gliscor. Can you stop me from getting Toxic up? And it's like, sorry, I don't want to bring any characters that can deal with Gliscor. I don't understand why I'm losing. That's kind of lame, in my opinion. Like, if it's like, damn, I'm really struggling with this boss, but I don't want to bring any of the Pokemon that let me deal with it. It's like, yeah, that's your own fault, man. And if you don't enjoy that, then I'm sorry, because I think that it's super cool, and I think that it's something that literally anyone can enjoy if you're just willing to open your worldview a little bit. If you're just willing to experience new things instead of just sticking with your status quo. And I'm not going to sit here and say that you should experience the fucking bajillion hours that it takes to get to Granblue Endgame. Like, that's a lot. It is. It's a lot. But I do think that being like, the game itself is like on a fundamental level not possible to enjoy for you. I think that's very close-minded. That's my 2 cents on it. And it's the reason why Justin makes me angry sometimes, right? The reason when Justin like straight up ignores things in games, that gets me really frustrated, right? But in MiHoYo, right, we can, as players, as friends, playing the game together, we exist in our own little microcosms where it doesn't matter that Tatsume is playing Raiden Electrocharge, or that Azalea only has one usable character on her account, or that Tony is playing on an account that wasn't even considered built in the first week of the game being played, right? Or that I came back to the game where my only 2 built characters were Nahida and Hu Tao, and I didn't have the teams for either of them, right? It didn't matter, because you can just kind of play the game at your own pace. But in Granblue, we're not really in the same luxury, right? The thing with Pokemon over GBF is if you want to use a weird / bad Pokemon like Wailord, if you figure out a reason to use them, you can, but in GBF it's GG. That is true in Granblue as well. The issue is, Azalea, is that you are putting emphasis on a Pokemon like Wailord, right? That, let's say you're Nuzlocking, right? You will feel in Pokemon, you will see it. You will be looking for the opportunity to use your Wailord, right? this is the spot, right? This is the spot. The opponent is using Trick Room, but not too slow Trick Room, and Rain's up. I can get off a crazy water spout here, or Wailord can tank this hit, or blah 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 blah. In Granblue, right? In Granblue, if your favorite character, where is she? If your favorite character is Wamdis, right? If your favorite character is Wamdis, and all you want to do is play Wamdis, and dude, trust me, I've been there. I fucking love Wamdis, dude. I love Wamdis so much. I love Wamdis so much. But if the only character that you want to play is Wamdis, if you're just looking for that one opportunity to play Wamdis, you will find it. But because this is a gacha game, you will get your one fight, which is this. Which is this. This is the character. Where's the raid? Thank you. This is your one opportunity to use Wamdis. You will use it, you'll finish farming this, and then you're done, right? The characters do have extremely niche use cases. Almost all of them, almost. There are characters that are explicitly bad. They are in this region, 8.0 and bad. 8.0 and down is straight up bad. There are ubiquitous characters that are up here, right? Up here, these characters are used for more or less everything. But even down here, all of these characters, every single one of them, I can explain a usage for every single one of them. Actually, some of these characters are a little new. I don't know all of these characters, but the ones that I know I can. The ones that I know I can, right? And it's kind of like what you're saying for Wailord, right? If you find your one opportunity to use Wailord, right? You find your one opportunity to use Wailord. Yeah, I guarantee you can. I guarantee you can. You made the point as well. You can find your one reason to use them. But I guarantee you that you can't bring Wailord to everything. Because the fact of the matter is Wailord is not a good Pokemon. And every Pokemon has a use case. It does, right? In Run and Bun, you use Kecleon, a very not good Pokemon, to PP stall between a normal type and ghost type, and then use Skill Swap to take Trickster from Hoopa to steal leftovers so you get an extra leftovers in Run and Bun. That's sick. It's also the only use of Kecleon in the entire game, right? For the most part. That's an exaggeration, but for the most part. Hi, Mimi. I see you. I see you. But like, that's kind of like how it is in Granblue as well. Right? Does that make sense as to what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, you could just use Percy, Zeta, Atum. I don't know why Atum's so low. Probably because he's not a burst character. But yeah, you could just use Percy, Zeta, and Atum. Or Yule, Zeta, Atum, essentially, right? Or in water, you could just use Hase, Yatima, and who is this? Ilsa Formal's a 9.9? What the fuck? I don't remember her being that good. You could just use Shishio, Hase, Yatima, Sylvia, and you will probably clear all of the content in the game. In Earth, you can just use Octo, Luo, Lich, and probably clear all the game content in the game with Rising Force. In Wind, it's a little weird, but you can just use Katsei and Cow, and then whoever the fuck the last character is, it really doesn't matter. And then same thing in Wind. You can just use Horus and Cosmos, and you can beat all of the game. Dark is weird. Dark doesn't beat anything. if your favorite element is Dark, I'm sorry. But like, you can do that. But to say that, like, if your favorite character is Anturia, or if your favorite character is Chichiri, or if your favorite character is Anne, or if your favorite character is Alex, or if your favorite character is Basara, like, those characters do get used 100%. There's a reason they're right here and not right here, right? Right? But that's where Granblue comes into play. The issue that you run into in Granblue, which is part of the reason we're getting to where I am at in Granblue, and we can come back to Beku's point earlier of me quitting, is that in Pokemon, you can catch a Wailord. In Granblue, you have to purchase these characters, which is a little bit different, right? Little bit different. And in Granblue, purchasing these characters gets a little expensive, just a little bit. I got to a point in Granblue, essentially, Mr. Beku, if you were still here, where it kind of felt like there wasn't really much more point in me spending time in the game, because I was essentially logging in to, I was essentially logging in to pull characters, right? And me farming gold bars was a way for me to save money, because I would instead, I would purchase a character and a weapon for $600, and instead of having to spark again to get a dupe, I would farm gold bars to save myself an extra $600 to get my dupes, right? And in Granblue, they have made a lot of managerial decisions. If you're unaware, the game director KMR became the CEO and stepped down as game director, and KMR Jr., aka Shadowstep is his actual name, I believe, took over the position of game director. It is how we started getting the collab draws, which is kind of a shameless cash grab, as well as more things that require Valor badges, more things that are gated by GW, more things that require Sunlight Stones. So you start kind of getting into this pitfall where you're really low on resources, and then all of a sudden they stop giving out Sunlight Stones for every anniversary event or event that they typically gave out Sunlight Stones for. And also all of a sudden, after this insane Sunlight Stone drought, they start giving us these really expensive $55 these $55 Sunlight Stone packs, which seems to be the only way outside of GW to get Sunlight Stones, and also these Providence summons, and these non-Providence summons, and these new formal wear limited banners that are essentially a grand banner, except they only happen once a year, and also meta characters left and right that just come out over and over and over again, and albeit if you're not playing every single element like me, it's not a super big deal, but Vajra Halloween and Esser Halloween are insanely good. Sylvia, who is a grand character, is insanely good. Serial, a grand character, insanely good. Shatura Summer, grand character, insanely good. Lich Summer, limited character, insanely good. Atum, summer character, insanely good. Ilsa Formal, grand character, but even more exclusive, insanely good. Howhet and Grimnir are not super good. Siegfried, grand, weapon, insanely pivotal, literally metatized Earth, insanely good. Vicky Yukata, insanely good. Luo, summer, mandatory. Yule, grand, mandatory. Lobelia, Valentine's, mandatory. Makura, Valentine's, mandatory. Just non-stop. Tsukiyomi, non-grand character, to be fair. Surprise ticketable, but mandatory. It would just non-stop, over and over again. You need these characters if you want to keep up with the game, which I did. I did want to keep up with the game. And it got really expensive. And it got to the point where I was like, well, none of my friends are keeping up with the game. There isn't really a whole lot of point in me continuing to play, because the reason that I was investing so much into the game, that I wanted to play the game so much, that I wanted to be really strong, because I wanted to be strong enough to carry my friends so that they'd play my favorite game with me. And unfortunately, it didn't really seem like a lot of people panned out. It kind of seemed like everyone moved away. And I get it. The game is a massive time sink, and people have other things that they want to do with their life. Because what I'm talking about all of these characters being mandatory, is all of these characters being the carry characters. All of these characters are the characters that you pull if you want to pull your weight and not be a liability. which I needed to be because I knew that all of my friends were not going to be pulling every single character, right? And so I'm a giga whale in Grand Blue. I am an Omni Element full investment main with 4 illustrious weapons. That's essentially like me saying I have E6 S5 on 6 different archetypes of teams. Like, that's crazy. No? Like, that's really, because I wanted to be so flexible that I could literally do anything to carry any of my friends. And I am. I literally am. But my friends didn't really want to play the game. That's probably not true. To some extent, that's probably not true. But the amount of money that I spent in Grand Blue alone is probably enough to E6 S5 a full battleship of 6 teams, right? Like the full Super Break team, the full Caster Reese team, the full Finon team, the full Acheron team, I don't fucking know, Phase Out team, I don't know all the battleships in the game, but like the amount of money that I've spent in Grand Blue is probably enough to E6 S5 every main battleship in Star Rail. So yeah. That's true. That's true. I did get a lot of free stuff in Grand Blue. Grand Blue used to be very... I think it's crazy that Cygames used to be like this paragon of like generous game devs, of them just being like, we woke up on the right side of the bed today. How about everyone take like $50 worth of pulls? Now look at them. Now it's... Fuck you. Kiss my shoes. Give me $50. Maybe I'll give you something worth it. Like... Oh, Cygames. Oh, how far you fallen. But yeah, I'm not a super big fan of the direction that Cygames has taken in all of their games. If I'm being honest, it's not just a Grand Blue thing. You can feel it in their other games too. You can feel it in Shadowverse, and you can feel it in Uma for sure. I'm unaware if they're keeping up in any other games. I know that like they still release stuff in ROB, but not like a super in-depth amount. Who am I? Interesting. Anyway. I guess that's my topics on everything. Not so much a rant as just kind of like the sad reality of the matter, but all of this kind of came from the standpoint of us talking about why one mono in an hour. So I can either yap for another hour or I can swap over to Mons, but I don't know. I like talking about stuff like this. I think that it's like worthwhile to talk about for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think it's worthwhile to talk about for sure. For sure. So the last time I took the game seriously was right here. I'd be seeing them raids and think about how I gotta get there and explode. What, like Versusia? Who I just learned is named Versusia instead of Verusia? You wanna see something crazy? Just any new folks? So watch this. So this is dark in Versusia. Okay? I'm gonna put it on 2 times. We're gonna watch him take his turns. You know, he's taking his turns. We're gonna get to turn 6, turn 7. Taking his turns. You know, first 20%, 25% looks like he's doing it, right? Looks like he's kind of chilling. And then we get to the 25% mark. He has taken 9 turns. Keep in mind, I'm on 2 times speed. He's taken 9 turns. He has taken 9 turns. He has taken 9 turns. He has taken his 9th turn now. He has taken his 10th turn. And if you can see here, he uses Alex. I think he takes another turn here really quickly. And then he uses Sandalphon. He uses 000 to clear his Pearl. Right here. And that's it. I'll spare you the rest of the 6 minutes. Because he needs to give Alex to everyone else so that they can just mash and so on and so forth. And that's it. And it's like, I agree. I also really think that those fights are super, super cool. But like, let's slow it down for a second. You don't need a lot to do them. Like, yes, that is the state of free-to-play Dark right now. And that was a super free-to-play friendly set. Like, Ilsa is like 3 years old, 4 years old. Snake is new, but she's, you know, Zodiac character. I think if you're a Dark player, you should probably have her. And whatever the fuck his name was, like Marquise. You know, Marquise is like literally a 1.0 character. Fidel super old. Halmal super old. But I would like to play though instead of just AFKing the fight. That's my main issue. Yeah, I mean, Dark is in a weird spot, but I think at your level of investment, you would not just be AFKing. That specifically is free to play Dark. That's the reason that it looked like that. But like at your level of investment, you would not be sitting like that. But what I'm saying is that every element can do that. Like you do not need to have like the most insane level of investment. That's what I did, right? So that I could be those guys in the number 1 and number 2 spot that's helping all of my friends that are like that, right? That was like the entire point of me playing Granblue and putting so much time into it. Yeah, so double-edged sword, right? If you're, and I guess free to play is an overstate. Free to play tends to mean low investment is what people mean when they say that, right? Low, like, how do I phrase this in a way that makes sense? If you play Granblue, you have to be smart with your pulls in the same way that you have to be smart in any, right, exactly. You have to be smart with your pulls and just like any other game, right? It goes back to what we were saying. If your favorite characters in Star Rail are Finon, Evernight, Saber, and who was the last one that I can't even remember? You get what I'm saying, though. Hisselins, right? If your favorite characters are Hisselins, Finon, Evernight, and Saber, and you pull all four of them and you pull nothing else, then yeah, you're kind of fucked, dude. Like, yeah. If you're playing in Granblue in the same capacity, and you're like, man, I really love Zeta, and I really love Paila, and I really love Summer Ratiel, it's like, okay, I mean, you're like pulling a lot of shit that are good, but like, I think that you should probably like commit to something. I suppose is like my 2 cents on the matter. Like, even without swiping. And same thing, like, that is a setup for Verusia. Where's the video? Hold on a sec. This is a setup for Verusia. Does he show grid? He does. Setup for Verusia that is not using the Verusia weapon, which is going to be meta-defining in the same way that the Dark Opus weapons were. Like, you do this until you get the same way that if you don't have an SL20 Dark Opus weapon, skill level 5, level 200 Dark Opus weapon, like, you are probably going to need to get carried through Fahard. Fahard is a 5-year-old fight, dude. Like, maybe even longer. Did Fa come out before that? 6 years ago? Fa is a 6-year-old fight, 5-year-old fight. You're probably still going to need to get carried through it, and then you'll get your Dark Opus weapons, and then you'll be strong enough to do it. And then same thing with Belial. Like, Belial's going to be a struggle until you get like a pretty invested like Belial, and then same thing with Suba. Like, you need your 5-star super ultimate weapon, and then you'll need to do GW so that you can get your Celestial weapon, and then eventually you'll have to do HH so that you can get your HH weapon, and then eventually you'll have to do Fa Zero so that you can upgrade your Dark Opus weapon into the Fa Zero key. And then in Verusia, which just came out, you're going to need to grind Verusia so that you get the Verusia weapon. And then this stems into my problem with Granblue, which is there has to be more to the game than doing the same fight over and over and over again. When you're new, it's not an issue. Straight up, when you're new, it's not an issue. You have so much wealth of content to do. Like, there's so much for you to work on. There's so much for you to do. There's so much for you to invest in and grind towards. And like, you do something, you get strong enough, and then it lets you do the next thing. And you get strong enough from doing the next thing, and you do the next thing. And it's like, there's such a clear line of sight for everything. My point of the game, because I'm not playing with friends, I'm essentially playing Granblue as a single player game, is that I am literally just sitting here doing Fa Zero over and over and over again. And now I will be sitting here doing Verusia over and over and over again. Or I will be sitting there doing a Bahamut high level for gold bars over and over and over again, because I've done all of the grinding already. And I'm like not playing with my friends. I'm just playing a single player game that I've beaten. And so I stopped playing because I don't really have a reason for me to play anymore. For a long time when I was like investing a lot into my crew, hi Mari. When I was investing a lot into my crew, it got to the point where I was just waiting. I was waiting for my crew to catch up to me. And albeit some people are catching up now. It seems like Preacher is, oh, it looks like they need their crew buffs up. I can turn that on. Here you go. Sorry for a late response. can respond to this in a second. You know, if you're still on. Wow, that's actually crazy. I'm doing the thing that I love doing, which is teaching people how to play the game. We have crewmates that are into HH now. Yeah, I'm a bit preoccupied at the moment. Give me a bit. What was I saying? Oh, that like there are people catching up to me in Grand Blue that are like reaching the end for sure. That's exciting. But for the most part, it was like, all right, I'm just kind of sitting here waiting until people catch up to me, and then we can do the stuff that I really enjoy later. And for what it's worth, even though Earth is like the most popular element in the game for whatever reason, still don't really know how that happened. If I'm being honest, I blame DJ Salt, who is by far like the most popular content creator because he appeals to both Western and Eastern players, and he's an Earthman. It's like him and Link, and Link's a Waterman, so Earth and Water tend to be pretty popular. If like Earth is not a carry element in this fight, so it kind of leaves the floor open for Light and Wind to like put in some work, right? Light and Wind are fucking crazy in this fight, so they kind of go to town. But I don't know. Point is, I think that the MiHoYo games enable playing with your friends when you have different goals a lot better. You know, because if you don't have anything and you don't want to interact with the game mechanics or systems like in any capacity, then I think MiHoYo is the game for you, right? Because you can just not engage with the systems in the MiHoYo games, right? Say you don't want to play, what's it called? You don't want to play the endgame modes whatsoever, even though I think the endgame modes are all pretty simple for the most part. You don't really need like an insanely high level of investment to do them. Like maybe the higher tiers of Stygian and maybe with anomalous blah blah blah, whatever it's called in Star Rail, you need it, but those don't even give you currency. Like there's like literally there's barely any rewards from them. It's just essentially an ultimate. It's essentially you just doing something because like, hey, people ask for endgame content, here it is. You can do it if you want it. And even in the easier versions of the endgame, you can just not. What are you missing out on? You're missing out on like, I don't know, like $6 worth of pulls every couple of weeks. Surely it's more than that, like $15 worth of pulls every couple of weeks. Hi Kiki, I see you're a Grand Blue player. Are you possibly in my Discord? Oh, you're in my stream right now. I have streamer mode on, so I can't see if you're the person's name that starts with a K. But hello, I appreciate the lurk. Yeah, no worries. I'm sorry. Let me introduce myself. Sorry, I'm a longtime Grand Blue veteran. I played the game. I got into the game when Monkey Banner was turning into Mahira Banner for the first time. And have played the game on and off for a really long time. I'm ranked 398 right now. I am completely endgame in every single element. Like have spent well over $10,000 on the game over the past 10 years. I am very, very, very deep into the game, and have bbbe taking a bit of a break. I passed lead over to Preacher. I think that he has been doing a wonderful job. Yeah, I'm old. Yeah. I quote unquote beat the game. I have not been playing the game a whole lot recently because I don't think there's a whole lot of reason for me to be playing the game. And I'm kind of talking about that right now, if I'm being honest. 10,000, yeah, I'm a bit of a whale in Grand Blue. Honestly, 10,000 is probably lowballing it. It's probably more like 13 or 14. They on purpose made the Primos for Stygian available on the easy floors so that people don't need to do it. Yeah, exactly. And Stygian 3 is literally easier than MOC to some extent. I still feel like, yes, like objectively you are correct, but I do think that Stygian kind of forces team comps a little bit more so than MOC does. But yes, I completely agree. They made it easy on purpose. And yeah, I am a little old, Beku. My history with Granblue is super weird. I started in like 2018, barely played, but lost my account and then started. But it's actually crazy how common that sentiment is. Like I feel like, and I probably said this to you. I'm vaguely remembering this conversation. I probably said like, it's crazy how often I've heard people be like, yeah, I started playing the game at this time, and then I just like lost my account, and then I restarted, and I made a new account a couple of years back. It's like actually crazy how what's it called? Oh yeah, I put it back in. I added it. It's okay, Beku. Even if I think that it's actually kind of crazy. This is completely separate topic. With regards to like people using slurs on stream, I know that like certain populations of groups can say them. Like I have a friend that's very deeply invested in the LGBTQ community that is very happy to be using that slur. I don't particularly have an issue with people saying whatever words that they want to say. Just like how I know that, you are obviously a member of the population that is endowed that ability to use those sorts of verbiages. But, I am like literally at risk of getting banned for having that type of stuff in my chat. Just because, people don't know, there's no way for people to know that you're black or that you're gay or that you're whatever. If you're using a slur, I don't particularly mind if it gets used in chat, but I do understand why AutoMod removes it because it's just straight up not allowed. Regardless on Twitch, you're just not allowed to. I was playing Granblue on my school Chromebook back then. Probs why I lost my account. Damn. Chromebook. Holy moly. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's funny. And yeah, I mean, there was a really long time, and I'm gonna say it again, like, there was a time where I was begging people to get into Granblue, and some people were like, I just really don't like turn-based combat. And it's like, okay, but if you're like unwilling to even try because you don't like turn-based content, then yeah, the game's probably not going to be something you're going to be sticking with. Or if you don't like the art style, or if you don't like any of the systems of the game, which are all very valid criticisms. I think that literally everything that people complain about is valid. But it got to a point where I was begging people to play. Thank you for that. Was that a follow, Kiki? Much appreciated. It got to a point where I was begging everyone to play, and no one was playing. It was just me. I was like, oh damn, I guess it's over for me. So, I mean, the fun part of the game for me is in playing with friends, and that's why I kept on begging everyone to play, because I wanted to play the game with my friends. And the stuff that is just grindy, right? Which I guess at the level I'm at is pretty much everything except for Fa Zero and Versusia. Even HH is pretty bursty nowadays, in my opinion. But honestly, even Fa Zero is pretty bursty nowadays, in my opinion. You just fucking obliterate that thing. You better come back for WinGW or Cornizio or Eto bleh. What was I saying? Like, if it gets to the point that people need carries with Ravans, or if people need carries with HH, or if people need carries with Suba, or if people need carries with anything, I'm so willing to help with any of that, because I can carry really, really hard, and I can carry in a lot of different elements as well, right? But eventually, everyone else will get to the point where they're also going to it just comes time that you also just need to grind it. You also just need to sit in Raid Finder and spam Siete over and over and over again until you get all of your swords and you get your sands and you get your Ravans mats for anything that requires the Ravans mats. Or, you know, you get all of your Schrodingers, or you get all your Magna 3 weapons, or you get all of the mastery trials for your class champion weapons. And you know, with Suba, there was a time where I was like, okay, I'll just log in and do my daily Suba solos over and over and over again, so that we can just knock them out and get people their Suba weapons. I just checked, Stygian Onslaught 3 Hera doesn't even try to put the shield on until almost 1 minute in. Sheesh. Sheesh. But, like, those parts of the game, I'm not super conducive towards helping all the time, because it is just, it is just like you have to put in the work to do it, right? Like grinding Ravans, grinding Magna 3. You just kind of have to put in the work to do it. And now like HH and Faziro and Suba, honestly, even, and now with Versusia, that's a take it at your own pace. Do it with people that you're comfortable doing it. You don't have to go crazy like how I did. I finished every single HH, what's it called? I finished every single HH weapon within the first week of HH coming out. I'm certain that the people in what's it called, in the Discord remember that I was just sitting there, like I would log in, do HH, and then like go to bed. like that was my day. Like I'd get home from work and then do HH and then go to bed. And that was all I did. It was literally all I did. I just sat there and I did HH over and over and over again. And that was the super old HH team as well. I was doing fronting, obviously, you know, I was the goat with fronting, but I was using Yamato back then. People didn't have the Zerker set up. And then I was doing Lobelia and Kame, and I didn't have Transcended Octo. Who was I using? It was Lobelia, Kame, and who? Olivia. It was Olivia. Yep, Olivia was out at the time, and you would Olivia Kame. I think the game just has a higher barrier of entry compared to other gachas, TBH. The learning curve is so much steeper, and the grind kind of gates a lot of people from the get-go. Yeah, so we were kind of talking about this before you hopped in the stream. That in games like the MiHoYo games, or in I don't have enough time in Arknights to comment on it, but I can comment on like Fire Emblem Heroes, or the MiHoYo games, or Blue Archive, or Stellasora, or card games, or things like that, right? Like I've played quite a lot of gachas in my time. I even played Etheria Restart recently. I have quite a lot of time in Brown Dust too. The games, like on a fundamental level, allow you to not interact with the systems of the game because it doesn't matter, right? If you, I don't know what your background is, Kiki, with other gacha games, but like if you want to do something super unoptimal, you can. Who cares, right? And if your content in Granblue is grinding the events, right? Like doing the events that come in every couple of weeks, and that's it, then sure. But I think that part of the like fun in Granblue is in progressing. And if you're gonna progress, then you're probably going to be like invested in some capacity in learning. I mean, that was my fault. Just time in and time out, and it was at a now known extremely shit time for me. Hard to box those drops when the rest of life was boxing me. So my ass just fell off even when I was following the step-by-step. And yeah, I am, I mean, the wiki has evolved so much over the years. There's essentially a step-by-step guide for everything you're supposed to do. There's also so many help systems within the game itself to like move you in the right direction and accelerate the process towards getting to the end. There was a time where getting rank 200 like literally took 2 years. Now I'm willing to bet that you can get rank 200 in like a few months, if that, right? Like the game just has so many accelerators to it. Like you can get there even on a fresh account very, very quickly. Now you'd be pretty weak because you'd be behind in GW, right? You wouldn't have a whole lot of New World quartz. You'd have missed a lot of the rewards. You'd be missing a lot of Arcarum drops. You wouldn't have all of the Juten 5 stars, right? That you'd have to wait for as well. But like there's a lot of accelerators in the game now. The game's a lot easier to get into. But you're right, it is definitely. But no, hold on a sec. I'm gonna backtrack for a second here. Let's talk about now. Wua is an extreme example. 100% Wua is an extreme example. But Star Rail, Genshin, and ZZZ all have pretty large barrier of entries as well. Like full stop, they do. Definitely not as big as Granblue, for sure. You're right. Granblue does have a pretty big barrier of entry, but like there is a time, exactly, there is a time in all of those games that are extremely resin gated that they tell you that you have to stop playing the game, that you have to wait until X amount of time has passed for you to either get stronger or to straight up level your account to get to the point that you are able to level your characters. And I think that Wua and all the MiHoYo games do this for sure, right? Exactly. Yep. Waiting for resin, waiting for adventure rank, waiting for banners, etc. There are things you can do, but the game hard barriers your entry, as opposed to Granblue that is just a lot of grind. And I think that leveling a character in ZZ feels a lot easier and less overwhelming than Genshin because there's less things you need to wait for, but still waiting. Yeah, I mean, Genshin has the like time limited, like talent materials and stuff that ZZZ and Star Rail don't really have to deal with. But have you been on your starting screen for an hour? Yeah, almost 2 hours now. I haven't played any Pokemon whatsoever. Word. Okay, are these not my best streams though? I was talking about this before as well. Like, do you guys just want me to shut up and play Pokemon? Like, if you do, just tell me to shut up and play Pokemon, dude. I am so opinionated though. You should just start your streams as just chatting. I do that when I have like something in particular that I want to talk about. Like any of my streams where I talk about my life, I always preface as a just chatting stream. I never really intend for them to go like this. But what was I saying before? Oh, barrier of entry to games. I think that every game has a barrier of entry. Can't you technically get in trouble for being in the wrong category? Yes, but I am not breaking TOS because I'm not playing the wrong game. So I am not leaving stream inactive. I am not falsely advertising something, right? I'm not, it's not like I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV online instead of Pokemon right now. You are right that I am technically like not following my, what's it called? Like I am not following my stream category. However, I am not doing the thing that is the reason why that rule exists, if that makes sense. And yes, you are correct. ZZZ costs more resin because you get a free 80 resin every single day. Like your resin that you spend daily is 320, not 240. No, I agree. I think that it's arbitrary. I don't think that there's any reason for it other than making the world feel more alive. This is something that I talk about like in defense of ZZZ a lot, but ZZZ is like a game. Like it's not like it is a gacha game, but ZZZ is like a game, which is super cool. I think that I'm not gonna lie, I can't tell if it's me or not, but I think that I'm getting view botted, because I also saw my views have been throttling a lot. I saw it peak at, like in the high 20s and then it went immediately down to like 6 and then so on and so forth. I mean, more so Genshin is 5+ years old and ZZ's a year and a half. That's why if playing a gacha not at launch usually is really bleh to me. Starting a gacha rather than at launch is really bleh to me. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't understand your point. However, I do think that we all started Genshin kind of at the same time, but Amy's the only one that stuck with it, right? Amy's the only one that really, really stuck with Genshin. I've never once thought to myself, oh my god, I shouldn't be playing Genshin because my account will never be as good as Amy's. Like, that's just such a not good mentality to have. It doesn't matter. Just play the game, like, for you, you know? And it's the same thing in Granblue. Like, if you wanted to play Granblue, you shouldn't be sitting there like, oh my god, there's literally no way I can catch up to Dane. Because who cares? Like, why do you need to catch up to me? You know? Yeah, I mean, that's super true. Like, I could definitely just drop $600 on the game, you know, 600 to 800 bucks on the game, and just get C6 R5 Nefer, and like I would just beat the shit out of like everything, right? Except for the stuff that's immune to Dendro, which is ironically actually quite a bit. But like I could just get E6 S5 Nefer, and then boom, my account's really good because Amy doesn't spend a shit ton of money on the game. She does. She spends like a significant amount of money on the game, you know? Every battle pass in Welkin, that's a subscription, you know? Adds up over time, but yeah. I'm catching up and beating the oldies. They won't be asking me for the carries. True. But I don't know. I guess that's just my 2 cents. Doesn't C6 Child enable him as an off-field cryo applicator? Right, what does C4 Child do? Doesn't his C4 like let him use his burst like all the time? Because if that's the case, I mean, Child's pretty good. If you can just have him as a hydro off-fielder. I think the craziest part, Nick, is that your C6 R0, your C6 Child with Rust. No Polar Star. If you had Polar Star, your Child would actually be like cracked. Right. It just triggers Riptide every 4 seconds. I mean, that's really good. Triggering Riptide every 4 seconds is like insane, no? Hold on a sec. Where's Child? Child. There you are. Tartaglia, Constellation. If Tartaglia is in Foul Legacy Raging Tide's melee stance, triggers Riptide Slash against opponents on the field affected by Riptide every 4 seconds. Otherwise, triggers Riptide Flash. Riptide Slashes and Riptide Flashes triggered by this Constellation effect are not subject to the time intervals that would typically apply between these two Riptide effects, nor do they have any effects on those intervals. No, that's actually really good. Am I insane? Is that like not really, really good? Right. I mean, I'm saying specifically like Child, like full honesty, Child is not like a super competitive main DPS even at C6 nowadays. And being an off-field hydro applicator is very competitive, like always. They literally always will. Hydro's just broken. So I feel like that C4 is actually really good, no? Good evening, Mr. Will. Whoa. Am I insane? They moved Flynn's and Nefer up? They moved Flynn's, Nefer, and Varesa up? And they moved Nuvi and Arle down? Wait, what? Let's go? Let's go? C0 charts. Arle was down already? Oh. But yeah, I think that this is super. I mean, I still think that this one in particular is rated not properly. But I do think that that the rest of it's actually pretty good. Yeah, Shanling, Xingqiu, Mav, Nefa, Lama, Coffee, Yalan, Farina. I think that that's by far the S tier of sub DPS. Farina, Zilo, Benny, Yansan, Kazuha, Sitlali, Lama. I mean, I can see. I feel like Kazuha does not deserve to be here. No? Is that my ignorance showing? Or is Kazuha more down here now? No, like, he was there for sure, but I think that he's probably down here now, right? So the way that they rank their characters is in their best team. What is Kazuha's like best team that is putting him up here? Like, what is he enabling that allowed? Like, the reason that Shenhe's up here is because of Skirk, right? What is Kazuha enabling that is enabling him to be up here? He's just better Venti? I don't think that he's just better Venti. I think they do very different things. Nah, you wrong. Right? Is Kazuha like replacement Zilo for like Arle? Is he like an Arle Mulani Gaming Nuvi character? It's probably Nuvi, right? It's probably Nuvi Farina Kazuha Lama. If so, I think that Kazuha should be down, right? Venti takes more to do the same thing. You don't use them for the damage, and if you do, Kazuha wins. Venti takes more to do the same thing. You don't use them for the damage, and if you do, Kazuha wins. Well, Venti explicitly you use for the damage, right? He doesn't buff anything. Kazuha is a buffer. The only thing that Venti does as a debuffer is because you do Viridescent Venerer, right? Viridescent Venerer is Anima Res Shred. Otherwise, he is just damage. Yeah, Amy and I are saying the same thing. Kazuha is like explicitly a buffer. Is there a better set for Venti? No, where is he? I mean, they probably just tell you to use Viridescent on him. But like, is there like a better set for him? Well, Viridescent like increases swirl damage, right? Where's increases swirl damage. I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be kind of hard to beat, but yeah, Kazu's best team is definitely Nuvi, right? Nah, Venti's like definitely a damage dealer, like 100%. Whereas Kazu is like explicitly a buffer. Like if you're using Venti as a buffer, you should be using Sucrose instead. My 2 cents. Anyway, do you agree with the top tier now, Amy? Honestly, I kind of agree with both these tiers. Except for Kazu. I think the Kazu's probably one step down. because I think that he's a Nuvi, right? Because Shan Yun is Gaming. I mean, would Raiden's best team not be with Llama, right? And she operates well in that team? Or is Shinobu explicitly better? Right? I think that, like, that's what they're considering for it. Right? At least, like, that's my impression of their logic. Yeah, I think this makes sense. I mean, Amber fulfills a niche. I think that Amber is technically the I think that Amber is technically the best secondary pyro to Hu Tao, because she can hold what's the venti bow called? She can hold the venti bow, and she can use instructor to buff Hu Tao more. Because she doesn't benefit from Benny, because she needs to stay low on HP. She can't use Benny like how Arle can. So I think that Amber is technically the best secondary pyro for Hu Tao. But that's like a super, like you'd have to run instructor, you'd have to run elegy. Super niche Amber build. Anyway, that's actually super cool. I'm glad they updated their tier list. I mainly just use this as a way to look at all the characters. Didn't even realize that it was like this. Yeah, I mean, I also think that like when you look at supports, you need to look at like their versatility. IMO, yeah, Amy, we are on the same fucking wavelength, dude. That's so crazy. Like, I don't think that Shenhe should be considered this high of a character because her only usable comp is Skirk. And like, yes, she is probably the best character in that comp, like for that comp. However, there are very competitive alternatives. Like, Shenhe is really not a super viable option. However, if you are doing the Dane patented Chongyun cryo infused Shenhe main DPS with goatily burning Dea, actually, I think that Amber would technically still be Bis here. Wait, am I insane? Is Amber technically Bis here? Is it just instructor elegy Amber again? For burning? I think it is. I think it literally is. I think that Amber is technically Bis for that team. Right? I think that Amber is technically better than Dea. Unless you really need the like interrupt resist. Eula free shadow electrocharge superconduct. Go. Go. You can do it. You can do it. Unfortunately, I've decided that I am not pulling Farina, and I'm going to be pulling Durin. When is the Venti weapon coming out? I have to decide on if I want that, because I do like the Venti with his banner. So like next patch or like in a couple of days, right? It's Venti Zelo. Oh no! It's not. Next patch is Zhongli Mauve. It is next patch. It's not next banner. Understood. Okay. I mean, I'll have to make a decision when it comes to that. Chances are it's probably a no, but I don't know. If Venti becomes competitive with the new magic buff. Wait, Venti Durin? With his new weapon? Surely that's gonna be good, right? That has to be good. Venti Zelo, unfortunately. I mean, it would be kind of sad if I got Zelo R2 instead of the new Venti weapon, because I do already have the Zelo weapon. I don't know. Regardless, I don't think there's much point in talking more about that. We are at 2 hours. Is Justin alive yet? He hasn't messaged me. I'll shoot him a message in about 20 minutes. But I think that I've talked about everything that I want to talk about. I'm sorry that I didn't play Pokemon, but I am planning on streaming 4 days out of this week. I will be 100%. My Hexa question, I will answer that in text. I am just going to turn off stream, but I will answer that right off after I turn off stream. But mainly because I think it would be beneficial for me to look at your tool set and look at how you are kind of handling the triggers. 9 times out of 10. So what? I'll give you a brief step back on it. If you don't have Shishio, the answer is probably going to be skip it, like straight up, like skip Luo Fidel phase. But we'll look at your tool set and see what we can do. But yeah, I think that we're gonna end stream here. Same time, same place tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be here Monday through Thursday. Friday, I am going to Chicago for my mother's birthday. But I'll be streaming Monday through Thursday, same time, same place, same hours. Please trust me. Please trust me. I know I haven't done it in a long time, but you have to trust me. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. But thank you so much for watching. I'll put the archive up. I won't say that it's Pokemon when I save the VOD. But yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.